Gio is a 3-year-old boy who was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder when he was 2. At that time, he was nonverbal and displayed repetitive behaviors. Since being diagnosed, he has been attending a school that specializes in working with children with ASD. While Gio is still largely nonverbal, he has begun producing specific sounds for yes, no, milk, mom, and a few other words that occur daily in his life. As the textbook states, students with autism share certain core characteristics of social communication deficits, but also present a wide range of skills and cognitive abilities. Gio is no exception. He has good gross motor skills and enjoys movement. He loves to listen to music and dance. Gio struggles with some fine motor skills, such as holding a crayon or pencil. He also struggles with social skills, but shows an interest in communicating throughout the day with his teachers and family. The title of this lesson is Math Shaker Parade, and it is based off of a lesson from Scholastic.com. The lesson objective is, when given more than 10 items, students will be able to count out 10 items verbally, saying the number, and/or non-verbally, using number cards or other assistive technology, to then place in their plastic egg. This lesson is aligned with the New York State Pre-K standard, which involves understanding the relationship between numbers and quantities to 10. The lesson will begin with the teacher calling the students over to the carpet or wherever whole group lessons happen. The teacher will introduce the lesson by saying, "Today, we will be using our counting skills and making musical instruments. First, let's practice counting to 10. She will then play a video clip from the learning station called Counting Songs for Children. Students will be allowed to engage with the 1-minute video clip however they are comfortable. They can dance, count along, or just sit and listen. Gio learns best when he is allowed to move. Therefore, beginning with this short video clip introduces the idea for the lesson, but also gives Gio and other students who enjoy movement a chance to move before sitting for the activity. The clip will be turned off after the video counts 10 fingers. The teacher will then have the students return to their carpet spots and say, "Let's try counting our fingers. Everyone put your hands up." She will then model what to do and count up to 10, encouraging students to mimic her. So 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 10. To introduce the skill for the lesson, the teacher will then ask, when we count, how many numbers do we say each time we put a finger up? Can someone tell or show me? The teacher will wait for students to respond verbally or non-verbally. And then she will say, "I say only one number every time I put a finger up." The teacher will then hold up 5 plastic eggs. What if I was touch counting these eggs? How would I count these? The teacher will call on a student to come up and count them either verbally or non-verbally using number cards. And then the teacher can provide feedback such as, notice how Gio used 1 number card for each egg that he counted. When counting, we say only 1 number for each item that we count. For guided practice, the teacher will say, "Let's use what we know about counting to turn this egg into a musical instrument." The teacher will have the students sit in a circle and then set up a big plastic egg, which I don't have right now, so we're going to use this. A big plastic egg, a cup of beans. I don't know if I'll be able to show them, but a cup of beans, and the number cards. She will then tell them that she needs to count 10 beans for her big egg. She'll say, "I can count out loud or I can use my number cards. I'm going to do both. Can you help me all count?" The teacher will then place 1 bean on the carpet, say the number 1, and place the number card underneath it. She'll continue this all the way to the number 10, and then put all of the beans in her plastic egg. She will then ask if the students are ready to hear what this instrument sounds like. She'll then shake the eggs a few times to let the students hear the sound. She'll then go on to set up each student with their own plastic egg and cup of beans and number cards. Once all the students have the supplies, she'll empty her egg and repeat the process, having the students follow along with her. Once all students have the 10 beans counted, they will put them in their eggs. The teacher will provide the students with about a minute to shake their eggs before moving on. This break allows students such as Gio, who benefit from movement, a chance to move before moving on to the independent practice portion of the lesson. For independent practice, the teacher will say, "Now I'm going to give each of you a small plastic egg and some popcorn kernels. You're going to count out 10 kernels to place in your egg. The teacher will hand out the supplies to each student and then ask, "Do you think this egg will sound different than the big one? Let's get counting so we can find out." This will pique students' interest to begin counting independently so that they can find out if this egg sounds different from the other one. The teacher will circulate the room, assisting students as needed. This also provides an opportunity for the teacher to assess if each student is counting correctly, as well as to provide feedback. One thing the teacher could say to support students in reaching the lesson objective is, much like how she did during the introduction to the skill, something like, "I like how Gio is using one number for each popcorn kernel." She also will have these visuals to support students who need them, which just shows the number line 1 to 10, and then the first picture shows 10 beans under each number, and then the visual to remind them to put the 10 beans in the egg, and then the same thing for the popcorn kernels. To close the lesson, the teacher will give students a 1-minute warning and then call their attention back, bringing them to the carpet. "Everyone did such a great job counting. Let's all count to 10 one more time, and then it's time to play our instruments." The teacher will put up both hands in gentle fists, so there are no fingers up. She will then encourage students to do the same and put one finger up, say 1, 2, all the way to 10 again. She'll then tell everyone that they did a great job, prompt them to pick up their eggs, and let's make some music. The teacher will play the video Laurie Berkner, "I Know a Chicken," and allow students time to dance and shake their eggs. If there is extra time, this lesson could be extended by introducing different items such as plastic water bottles, paper bags, uncooked rice or pasta, to have students count to 10 and make additional instruments with. More advanced students could have to pick a number card from a face-down pile and count out that many items. Students who struggled could be asked to count only 5 items to give them more practice with this rational counting skill. This lesson can be differentiated in many ways based on the student and their needs. Some supports that are already built into the lesson include the pictures showing the students what they need to do, the number line, and the number cards. Gio and many other students benefit from having picture schedules and picture cards to support communication, such as these supports. As the textbook states, students with delayed language demonstrate a marked slowness in the development of language skills necessary for expressing ideas and for understanding the thoughts and ideas one hears. One way Cook suggests to support these students, as well as English language learners, is to use visual cues and media such as pictures, objects, and video to make clear the topics in which the teacher is referring. There are additional supports that could be added as needed. For students who struggle with fine motor skills, larger items could be used. For students with limited mobility, a teacher or fellow classmate could manipulate the items for the student, and the student can count verbally or with the number cards. For students with limited mobility and limited language, they could use the picture cards more and stop to communicate with the teacher when to count another item and when to stop counting. This lesson was modified to support the focused learner from the case study, Gio. Gio enjoys movement and music. Therefore, the use of the video to begin and end the lesson provides him with a chance to move before being asked to sit for the activity and after having to sit for the activity. There's also a 1-minute break at the end of guided practice in which the students can move around shaking their eggs. Another modification based on the focused learner is the use of number cards. Gio is still largely nonverbal, so the number cards allow him to engage with the lesson without struggling with verbally counting. A third modification based on the focus learner is the use of teacher modeling and the picture guides. Gio benefits from the use of picture schedules to support him in meeting learning objectives. Underneath this video, I will link to the 2 videos I mentioned in the lesson in case you want to take a look at those.